This has to be one of the most divisive movies ever. I mean, it might be the most divisive. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe there's a movie out there, of course, you know what it is, that has to be a lot divisive. But man, this is like The Last Jedi is totally divisive among the fans, and like I mean, after watching it, I can understand why. I think like fans had expectations about like questions that were going to be answered after The Force Awakens, and they didn't like how those questions were answered. And yeah, I can understand it. I mean, yeah, they went into it thinking what was going to happen and didn't want like that to be answered that way. But for me, I actually quite like this movie. I've seen it only one time, and I don't know if I can say I loved it yet, but I'll have to see it again another time to know for sure. But boy, I definitely really liked it because this movie, I actually liked that I didn't know where it was gonna go most of the time in the movie, and it just had some really great moments in the movie, and yeah. So this will be a spoiler review because yeah, I'm going to spoilers. So if you tune in this video, yeah, tune out if you have not seen the movie. But yeah, here we go. I mean, just talking about some epic moments in the movie, like the first like scene of the movie, of course, when we open with Poe. Yeah, Poe like toying with Hux. I thought that was a great like moment. Of course, I mean he's just and it's a very comedic moment from Poe because you know that's where you're gonna get with them because when we had that confrontation against with Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, yeah, I thought it was funny. I mean the whole like war in like the sky, like the starfighters. I mean that scene was great, and then of course you have the bombers, of course, just destroying the dreadnought. I thought that was a great scene, and of course you have the woman in that scene. Of course, we later learn her name is Paige, and she is Rose's sister. And I mean, it's a powerful moment. Seeing her have like the button, and it drops, and you think it's gonna drop past her, and then but she catches it, and then she pushes it and sacrifices herself by dropping those bombs on the dreadnought, destroying it. Which I mean, that's just like a great war scene. If anything, it was like almost like a maybe you could probably think something out of World War II or something like that. But I mean, that was just an epic scene. I thought it was great, and of course, talking about probably my favorite scene in the movie was when Rey and Kylo Ren get like the whole scene where they're fighting the Praetorian guards, and then of course that comes after where Kylo Ren kills Snoke, which is like I did not expect that in the movie, and of course I didn't really like that too much because we don't learn who Snoke really was, and I don't really deem him as powerful as he kind of showcased when he was like shocking Kylo Ren. But yeah, back of that fight was just the greatest I think maybe lightsaber fight I've seen. I mean, lightsabers not clashing, of course, and we didn't see lightsabers clashing in the movie except when we had the flashbacks with Luke and Kylo Ren, and yeah, and but this one with the Praetorian Guards was great, and it just showed you like you don't know where this like story is gonna go because you think Kylo Ren is going to like turn good in a few parts. You like, and they gave you really good hints at that, but it ends up not happening, of course. And of course, like Kylo Ren and like Rey have that confrontation, of course, where yeah they're trying to pull out the lightsaber, and of course it gets destroyed later in that movie. And yeah, but and of course like talking about like how this movie you thought Kylo Ren was gonna like turn good, we would go to like the scene where he's thinking about like killing his like mother Leia, of course, in that scene, and of course he decides not to kill her then, but then like two TIE fighters come out of nowhere and just destroy that. I mean, I thought they killed Leia. I thought that was like, wow, they killed Leia just like that. And of course, Admiral Akbar is killed in that scene, which was like, I mean, that was like man, kind of a weird way to kill Akbar. You didn't really see it, but yeah, but they go to it later. They show Leia in space, and you think, oh, this is turning dark. They're going to show Leia's dead body in in the middle of space, and actually, you see her open her eyes, and then she uses the Force to keep herself alive and get back to the ship. I forgot what the ship was called, but I was like, yeah, that was a weird way to use the Force. I know why people may not like it. I kind of dug it because it kind of expanded the Force a little bit. It kind of gave what the Force can do, and I think Leia is even more powerful than Luke. And yeah, I thought that scene was, yeah, that was weird, but I thought it could have been worked out differently, but end up I thought it was actually pretty fine, and I really actually kind of dug it. Okay, let's go to one of the problems people had in this movie, and it was about Luke. And people did not like how Luke was portrayed in the movie. And I thought it was fine how Luke was portrayed. Even Mark Hamill maybe had problems with it, but I thought this is how Luke would like be probably if this stuff happened, and Kylo Ren, of course, turning against him, and like taking some of him, like some of the Padawans, and turning them in the Knights of Ren, which we haven't seen in the movies yet. But I mean, with that stuff happening in the past, you think Luke would probably do something like this and like just put himself on an island and like not go anywhere. Of course, Rey comes to him and he's like, he does not want to teach her at first, and then he teaches her, and then he's like, whoa, I haven't seen this kind of power since I saw Kylo Ren. And that's why he didn't want to teach her. But yeah, but I like how Luke was portrayed. And then of course the end of the movie, which, yeah, I guess I'll get to it right now, is where he comes back to take on Kylo Ren, but he's not actually there. And yeah, he's like project himself, of course, with in front of Kylo Ren, which I did not see at first. There were clues, of course, with the whole salt that the red doesn't kick up when Luke like drags his feet and stuff, and he looks younger, and he has the blue lightsaber, which I thought was kind of weird at the time, because I was like, wait, didn't it get destroyed? I don't know. Maybe did he have another blue lightsaber? I thought his lightsaber was green. Where did that lightsaber? So yeah, but I didn't see it at the time, but yeah, I thought it was just like another unique way to use the Force. And I think at first, after that ended, and of course Luke like kind of bought time for all like the Resistance to escape, and he's not actually there. He's actually on the island, and then of course he dies after that. I felt a little bit cheated after maybe watching that, but then I later thought about it. I thought it was actually a pretty beautiful way to end Luke's like story. And of course, his story's probably not done yet, because he's gonna be Force Ghost probably in Episode 9. You got to bring him back, because Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, and that kind of sucks. And because like Leia would have had just a great part in Episode 9, I thought she would have been just a great part of the story, but that sucks that happened. But I thought in Episode 8 she really played a good part. I thought she was way better than her acting is way better in this one than The Force Awakens, which I thought was like definitely plus. And of course, some of the time she's in the low coma after being blown out into space. But of course, yeah, that was like, yeah, just her role in the movie was pretty good. And then go to some of the newer characters in the movie, which some of them I liked, some of them I didn't really like. And of course, staying on with Leia, of course, General Holdo played by Laura Dern in the movie. I thought I actually liked her character, of course, taking over, of course. And then, of course, her sacrifice, which is probably the most breathtaking scene in Star Wars film history, when she takes, God, I forgot the ship's name, the Callus, I think it's the Callus, and of course she takes the Callus and goes light speed right into that Star Destroyer. That was the sound design in that on that scene was great. Whoever the editor has got to given just great props on that, because he did a great job on that. Yeah, I thought, well, the character maybe wasn't that integral. Holdo was a pretty good character, I think. Laura Dern played her well. On the other side, the other two new characters, Rose, who teamed up with Finn, of course, in the casino scene, which I'll get to in a bit. Yeah, I didn't really feel I liked Rose as a character, but it's just the chemistry, I think, with Finn and that relationship, I think it was a little bit forced. And then you see at the end, of course, when they're after the Battle of Crate, where she gives that little kiss on the cheek of Finn. I mean, what's with the kisses on the cheek of Finn? I mean, yeah, Rey do it at the end of Force Awakens, and then at the end of Last Jedi, Rose does it. Of course, Rose like saying she loves him and stuff. Yeah, but that was weird. I didn't really care for that much. And of course, going to the casino scene, I mean, it is cool that we have like a sort of like world like this. Canto Bight, you have like a casino scene, like it's sort of like the Vegas or like Monaco of the Star Wars universe. And yeah, it's a cool world, but I think it just felt out of place in this movie. And of course, going to like the scene where they're on that thing that's supposed to be like a horse and stuff, that yeah, that felt like Obi-Wan Kenobi on the giant lizard from episode 3. And yeah, that just like was kind of just weird. I didn't really care for any of the Canto Bight stuff. So yeah, but then of course we go to Benicio del Toro, who plays DJ in the movie. He ends up being some like hacker who they weren't looking for at first, and then of course they bounce into him. He steals a ship. He takes him to the like First Order, sneaks him under the Star Destroyer. Then he betrays them, and of course we have the Captain Phasma and Finn fight, of course. And yeah, Captain Phasma, not that much in The Force Awakens. She had even little screen time in The Last Jedi. And then she gets killed by Finn, and Finn's like, rebels, like, I'm a rebel scum and stuff. And yeah, I thought the fight was alright. It was very short, and I thought they could have hid that away from the trailers because you saw in the trailers. But yeah, Finn got the best of her. We don't know. She's probably dead. She landed in fire, but they could bring her back. And of course, let's go to the thing, the question that people wanted the answer the most in this movie, and it was, who are Rey's parents? And yeah, and boy, I think a lot of people were just disappointed that, I guess, nobody significant was Rey's parents. They were just a bunch of drunks, as told her by Kylo Ren. So I wouldn't be 100% sure that's like the real truth, because Kylo Ren's kind of telling her and stuff that that's her parents. They're a bunch of drunks from Jakku who dropped her off. And yeah, and I mean I am fine with that, because I'm happy that the character of Rey can stand on her own. And I think if she was like a Luke's daughter, or like Han and Leia's daughter, or maybe like a descendant of Kenobi, I thought that would have given her a little bit of significance. But I think with her being pretty much a nobody, I think that can let her stand on her own. It's just like, what's her last name? Rey whatever, but I think it'll just be Rey and Finn, because they both don't have last names now. So yeah, but yeah, I thought that I was fine with like the answer to that question, except they did build it up a lot in The Force Awakens, which yeah, I can understand why it angered people, why that's like that was like the answer to the question, who's Rey's parents, but I'm fine with it. And of course, one final scene, I almost forgot about it, and that of course is the Yoda scene, of course, on the island with Luke. And when it is like the back of his head popped up, you know, everyone was excited, of course. And that scene with Luke where he just blow up like that tree, of course, and that was like just a beautifully written scene. I mean, just having Yoda back was pretty cool, and the puppet Yoda was just, that was great to see again, because they got that old puppet back, and yeah, that was pretty cool, and I really liked that scene. Well, actually, I'll say I love that scene, and I think everyone probably can agree, that scene was beautifully written, and it was just like, yeah, it was fan service, but it was a great kind of fan service, included in The Last Jedi. I loved it. And before I end this video, I've talked too much in this video. I did not want to make this video too long, but I want to talk about, of course, Kylo Ren and Rey. I liked their like force powers, how they connected to one another in the movie, and like projected themselves, and like the way they just talked to each other in the movie through the force. Of course, later on it's like revealed that Snoke did that himself, but I really like those scenes, of course, and just seeing that like they were at one point, looks like they're gonna partner up, and of course Kylo Ren wants her on the dark side, and like Rey thinks he has a little bit of light left in him, and after he killed Han, maybe not, and he definitely does not anymore, because he's like full dark side now. He's a supreme leader in the First Order. So yeah, that's like, you're definitely not gonna get him back now. And of course, we're probably gonna see probably a fight between them again in episode 9. And the beautiful thing about episode 9, we don't know where it's gonna go. We don't know where it's gonna go because it leaves off with a escape crate, and the battle crate was pretty good, I thought. And of course, like it just like, but it left off where we don't know where it's gonna go, and they're all in the Millennium Falcon, which is pretty cool to see them on there. And I thought, yeah, that's a like, just it's a mystery where it's gonna go. And of course, they left off with Poe and like Rey having like a, they run into each other, which they probably should have in The Force Awakens when they had the time period where she got back and before she left to find Luke. So I was like, that's kind of forced. Maybe it could work in episode 9. We'll see. But yeah, so, but boy, I don't really know where it's gonna go. Who knows where episode 9 is gonna go? And it should be. Hopefully, it's great. Hopefully, it's as great as The Last Jedi was to me. So yeah, but I guess I would give The Last Jedi, I would give it a 9.2 out of 10 because it is a movie that is so original in the Star Wars universe, and it was so different, and it just was one of the movies that I think is going to age well over time, definitely like Empire Strikes Back did, and I think it's going to just be in a lot of people's hearts in the future, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I rambled too much. What did you think about The Last Jedi? Did you love it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you feel indifferent to it? Tell me in the comments below if you watched this video. And until next time, folks, I will see you guys later. I am out. And may the Force be with you. Yeah. I'm out.